Okay, so good evening and welcome back to what is a bit of a special edition of the Thursday Night Golf Show with the Average Golfer. Any luck now? I was going to say I'll be sunning it on a beach somewhere, but as the time difference is 2 hours ahead, I'm in Cyprus at the moment. Hopefully I'll be propping up a bar somewhere. But anyway, whilst I'm on holiday, pre-recorded this special edition of the Thursday Night Show, and I've got to concentrate on what is in my bag currently. Not a lot of messing around in terms of, I think I've said before, I'm not a kind of serial swapper of golf clubs. I kind of like to find something I like and stick with it, and I'm reluctant to sort of blame clubs when the game's not going bad. I know maybe if I did this video, I don't know, 6, 7, 10 years ago, I'd have probably been shooting this video every sort of 8-10 weeks, because at that point if a new club had come on the marketplace, I was one of those people who'd look for the upgrade straight away and think it would be solve all my problems. But perhaps a little bit older and wiser, or perhaps just getting a little bit tight as well in old age and refusing to part with the money, I don't know. But having tested clubs over the last 18 months, I'll go for the first option, with a little bit wiser to say the least. And I don't think there's major advancements in product that manufacturers like to claim. I've certainly not seen any. There has been improvements, don't get me wrong, and tech has definitely moved forward. But like I said, it's often down to who's got the clubs in their hands, I'm afraid. So like I said, we're going to start with the wedges, eh? I've got 3 wedges. Pitching wedges is part of the irons set, so I'll get onto the irons in a moment. And then the next step up for me is a 52 degree. I'm using the new Ben Ross MDR HD grind wedges. Now again, I never did a specific review of the wedges, although we were sent them kindly from Ben Ross. I never did, because we reviewed irons, hybrids, 3-woods, drivers. So we'd gone a bit down the line in terms of, we'd overdone it in terms of the Ben Ross reviews, I felt. So I didn't review their wedges, but I did feature them, and I think it was the first off. I took them out in a review that I did of Blakeney Golf Course. And I mentioned then that I was using them for the first time, and to be honest with you, I got on with them straight away. Really like I like the looks of them, I like the feel of them, and I was using an old Titleist Vokey, or 2 Vokey wedges, which the difference that I felt between the 2 clubs was, again, it wasn't so much about feel out the middle, it was about overall performance out the club head. And with the Vokeys, I felt that if you didn't quite get it out the middle, it was a real everything was lost. The performance was lost, the whole feel was lost. It just wasn't, it wasn't as much, again, this word assistance. I know you're not looking for assistance from a wedge, but I just felt that, like I said, this was an all-round decent performer, great feel, great looks, and like I said, even when they weren't coming bang out the middle, they still went where you was hoping they'd go, at least anyway, and consistent in terms of yardages as well. So like I said, I've personally, the way my wedges are gapped is from pitching wedge through to next up 52 degrees, and then I carry a 58 degree, once again exactly the same wedge from Ben Ross, but in the 58 degrees. So for me, flop shots, bunker shots, I'll use a 58 degree wedge, and again, little fiddly ones around the green, but that's kind of that's where I'm at with wedges. I'm going to ignore the irons till the end. We'll come back to those, maybe more of a story behind the irons. So I'll go next club up in the bag. So I go from pitching wedge through to 4-iron in my irons. And then my next club up, and I did a video about this, about the gap in between 4-iron and the next club up in the bag, and I think it's a real difficult one to fill that void, and I'm not sure that I've actually done that now, to be honest with you. It's a difficult yardage to find, I think. So for me, 4-iron around the sort of 190 to 200 yards, that's what I'd be looking at if I strike a decent 4-iron. And then, so the next club up in my bag is, I've gone for this, and again, I'll put the link below. There's an individual review of this ZU65 Strixon Utility Club driving iron, whatever you call it, it's a 3 which has got 20 degrees worth of a loft on it, and this Miyazaki shaft in the stiff option, which again is something that's featured in all of their fairway woods, hybrids, and also the driver, the Miyazaki shaft I'm on about. Really impressed, and to be honest with you, I could have really had any of that range in the bag, but I opted for, at the moment in time, what I was looking at was again this void between 4-iron and next club up in the bag. So got this 3 utility, and it's a good, and utility is it's quite apt really, in the sense that it can be utilised in a number of different situations. So off a tee peg, it's great. It's not as easy to hit from the deck, but it's certainly more than doable. Wide sole plate, nice and easy to pick up off of the ground in a tight lie. And I think yardage, so from the tee, it's probably a bit longer really than you'd want it to be, and that's not something we always sort of complain about, but it's probably gone up to like sort of 220, 225 mark. It literally does fly out there. So I've got this void still where, you know, decent 4-iron, and then this is the next one in the bag. So also you almost want not the perfect strike, you know, your next club up in the bag, 200 with a 4-iron would be bang on a button for me, and then this thing, like I said, bang on a button, 225. So there's still that void in between, but it's a real nice club. Really, again, it's a bit of, if you watch the Man versus Golf Hole challenges, if we've got a tight one off the tee and you're looking to find a tight fairway, it would be my sort of go-to club, if you like, to get a decent sort of, like I said, 200 odd yards and where I'm aiming. Now again, links will be below for the, I've tested that product and I did the video independent review of that one if you want to see a bit more about that. So next product up in the bag, and again I've got one void at the moment, or one allowance. I've got 13 clubs in the bag, so we've got one gap that's not filled. But anyway, I go from utility club, and again, yeah, Ben Ross again. And I think this kind of like proves a point really, which I was trying to make, is when we did the Ben Ross videos, I was so impressed first of all by the looks of them. You've seen the unboxing video if you do watch the channel a lot. I then really hoped that they perform well, and again I was overly impressed by the performance. Couldn't believe how well they'd done, and so much so that it's ended up in my bag. And this is, believe it or not, this is the and I always unfortunately have to refer to price when it comes to Ben Ross, which I don't like doing, but it's because the price point is so different than anybody else. It's hard to avoid talking about it. This was the HTX compressor 3-wood. So this isn't adjustable. This is as it comes off the shelf. Standard fitted with a Cura cage, again stiff flex. And I just, it's not as long, because my other club, my other option, it's still in the shed. Still got the option to go back to it. Is a TaylorMade M1. And the TaylorMade M1, in all fairness, is a very, very good club. And if it was in the bag, I've got no issues with it. It's incredibly long as well. And again, for those who watch the videos, I prefer it in 3-wood than driver. 3-wood numbers are normally quite good. What I've done with this 3-wood is made a bit of a compromise in that it's not as long as the head-to-head, 2 good shots right out the middle. The M1 3-wood is longer. And it's probably, you know, as much as maybe 20 yards longer. But the difference being, the major difference is off the deck. I found the M1 quite difficult to pick up cleanly off the floor. So second shot into a par 5, if you felt like having it, or into long par 4s, wherever it may be, I would steer away from the M1 and not fancy it. Whereas this thing again picks the ball up so much easier from a tight lie. And again, no loss in distance, and again, so I'm looking around the sort of 230 mark, 235 mark for a decent 3-wood. But like I said, I feel really confident when I'm over the ball that I'm going to hit it in well, I'm going to say where I aim, not always, but at least, like I said, it's that confidence booster that I think the compromise in distance was worth it, and that ability to be able to choose to take it from the deck on those long par 5s if you fancied it. So again, hats off to Ben Ross there. And then, and you'll notice the void, we've got the option where I think, again, this year what I'll be looking to do is either put in Looked at 5 woods as possibly being an option in terms of gapping, and also I've got no hybrids in there at the moment. I went with this 3 utility, but I'm tempted again to put sort of a gap in between with another hybrid, and that's the option we've got at the moment. But anyway, from 3 wood, naturally it's up to driver. You'll see that again, I'm not a player that plays the driver too much off the tee. I like to see a nice wide open fairway before it comes out the bag. But when I do, it's and this has been in the bag for a while, it's the 2015/2016 M2 driver. Again, for those of you who are interested, Fujikura Pro 60 shaft in it. The setup at the moment, vary the launch, because that's what you can change on this. Set up at a higher launch angle. It's 10.5 degrees. I think it bumps up to 12.5 at the higher launch, at a higher loft. Now, again, I've found the M2 to be an incredibly forgiving and stable driver. From everything we tested last year, it was the M2. The Epic came out this year. I was a big fan of the Epic, apart from the price point. And again, the other big driver that I liked was the Srixon again. Nothing would have persuaded me to have changed from this. I like it, it's stable, it's good. And again, the other driver, to be quite honest with you, is the Ben Ross driver, in terms of a little less in terms of distance, but more forgiving in terms of perhaps off-centre than this is. So that's the only other club. But at the moment, it's staying in there. It's been in there for, I don't know, that must be getting a year, 18 months or so. And see no reason to change that one at the moment. So yeah, that's it, up to and apart from the irons. And the reason I've left the irons is because a couple of you are alert to the fact and noticing what I've been going around with, is that I've got club fitted for these. So Z765s. Absolutely stunning iron. Like I said, the video review that I did was, I was amazed by these things. Could have bought those 565s, 765s, 965s, all of them very, very nice clubs. Basically, the difference between the 3 was, again, I suppose, in theory, maybe about the level you play at, what you like to in terms of forgiveness. The 965s were very much the bladed club, intermediate muscle back, and then the more cavity back and bulkier club in the 565s. I plumbed for the one in the middle, 765s, and the reason I moved from the Mizuno MP5s, which were more of a traditional, very small and compact blade, and the only reason I changed was just that little bit more help and forgiveness that I felt was in the Srixons. So I got the same feel, maybe a little bit of compromise, but I got the same feel to a certain degree. But I was getting that little bit of assistance for the kind of off-centre hits. Now then, bought the clubs. What I tried and tested in my fitting was not the shaft. It was an NS Pro shaft, Modus NS Pro. The C-taper shaft, which I used in my MP5s, wasn't available to try on the day in the 765 heads. So I debated whether or not to buy a club that I hadn't effectively tried, so with the C-taper shaft in, or buy a club that I had tried, and that's what I plumbed to do. So I bought the NS Pro, Modus NS Pro shaft, got them. I've always had a bit of an issue with them from day one, and I've always blamed, again, not me, I've always looked at the shaft as being a potential issue, and it's been in the back of my mind up until 4 or 5 weeks ago. I ended up putting the MP5s back in the bag. All of a sudden felt more confident with those and seemed to be hitting the ball, striking the ball cleaner straight away. And like I said, the only difference I'm looking at was the shaft. So 2 weeks ago, I took them back into Clark's and bit the bullet in terms of made one last change to see how these go. And the C-taper 120 stiff shaft has been fitted, and they're in the bag for this what's in the bag. Now, if we did the video in a week's time, it might all be changed, because I haven't even been out with these yet. But I'm hoping that these are the clubs that I intended to use for the season, and I'm hoping that the shaft makes the difference. And we will see. We will see. I don't know. I'm yet to be yet to decide, to be quite honest with you, and we'll see how much difference the shaft makes. This was one of those things now where you look back in hindsight and did I have major issues with the MP5? Probably not. I was looking for something that perhaps wasn't there, and that's why, again, that's my real thing that I've got a bugbear about sort of chopping and changing clubs, is that often what we're looking for is not the issue, isn't in the clubs, it's our own problems with our own swings. And so anyway, but I ignored all of that. I bought these, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, like I said, that next time you see me out on the fairways, that I'll be getting on with these things, and the shaft will be make all the difference. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Now then, finally, I'm just glancing over to the clock, so I don't want to go on too long. We're in 15-16 minutes of your time already. So hopefully you're sticking with us to the end of this one. It's a bit longer than I thought, actually, but I thought you'd due an explanation as to where I'm going with all these things. Now then, the good thing about this is, or at least I hope not, is the wife isn't a big fan of the Thursday night show or any of the videos I do, and thank God, because she doesn't know this club exists really. This has certainly been hidden in the boot for the last few weeks, and again, let's hope it stays that way. So I was using Ping condensed putter for, again, what does that, end of last season, let's say. And with the longer sort of lag puts, I found as though the weight of it was good. I had issues with alignment in terms of from the shorter stuff, and a couple of weeks ago I spent a bit of time, didn't do the video to be fair in terms of the fit, but I spent a lot of time in looking at a new putter. And yeah, I've paid the ultimate price in terms of literally pounds and pence, because I've never had a Scotty Cameron putter in my life before, and I've always tried them. I always think how fantastic they look and how fantastic they feel, but I've never been prepared to part with the dough, is the bottom line. But I've done it, and I'm going to show you this one a little bit up close. So is that in the light? Can you see that? So I'm going to read it to you, because it's the Futura 5S. It's centre shafted, which again is something that it's not a putter that I've ever used before, centre shafted putter. And again, I really feel that for as much as the fitting and personal, the bespoke fitting of these clubs is always great, I've always been an advocate of that. I think the first thing is with putters, it's a very personal thing on the eye first of all. I suppose it's the same said with all clubs, you've got to like the look of them first of all. But with a putter, there's a massive thing obviously in terms of alignment. So the first thing for me is to be able to get the ball onto real-time greens and get out. I took literally 6 of the new Scotty Cameron range out at Heswell Golf Club. I had a lot of great help from the head pro there, Tom Atkinson, and we spent a bit of time. We went through every shape and model, and I didn't dismiss anything in terms of any sort of preconceived ideas, and hence I ended up with the centre shafted, because I'd never thought I'd have bought one of these things prior to going in. Tried them all, looked at the different, like I said, first of all the alignment. This has got, and again I'll probably better throw in some pictures up to aid the description actually, but it's got 2 nice big white bars that come off, and there's also again centre black point, and it's, for me, again on the eye, I liked it. I could aim at a point or aim at the centre of a cup, and it sort of felt as though I was aiming at least. Whether I could execute the stroke is another thing, but I was aiming where I intended. And again, I don't even understand the logic of a centre shafted putter, but what I do know is that when I had it over the ball and was pointing in a straight line in terms of a straight putt, I was able to execute it. And the feel out the club, I think it goes without saying, you'd expect to be. The insert in it, absolutely, between ball and club is fantastic. And like I said, yeah, a lot of money, but there's a lot of engineering that goes into that thing. I play a lot of golf, and I'm more than happy that I'll get my money's worth out of this thing. Absolutely love it, and I've only had it I've played 2 rounds with it, and really enjoyed it so far. So let's see if I repeat that in about 6 months, when maybe we do another what's in the bag review. Anyway, we'll see. That's where I am. I'm going to quickly rattle through. I don't know whether other people do the what's in the bag. Is it clubs only? I don't know what the there's no rules in these things. Bushnell Tour V3 in terms of the rangefinder, wouldn't go anywhere without it. Play at Heswell Golf Club. Fly repellent, you need it. Don't forget that. Carex. Chap lips, mate, don't forget it. Shades, need them. And what I haven't got, but I carry it everywhere, is some, what do you call it? Suntan lotion, because with a head like this, believe me, you need to make sure you're covered up or you end up in a right mess. Anyway, enough of that. I think we've got to the very end. Hope you enjoyed it. Something a bit different. Like I said, first one that I've done in terms of, it's interesting because I never understand that would people actually be interested in actually what's in my golf bag, but again, it's what goes on, it's what's on YouTube. I hope I haven't bored you too much, and at least you know now, you know where I'm at, and a bit of logic as to why those products are chosen. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining me. Like I said, I've got a few days holiday left, and if all things have gone well, I've got a couple of videos done whilst I'm out here, and you'll see those very soon on our channel. So thanks for watching, enjoy the rest of your week, and as ever, thumbs up, subscribe, any comments down below. I'll make every effort to reply as soon as I can. So right, see you soon.